So for my article this week, I picked out, it was an article in Forbes. This was a little while ago by Alex Knapp. And it's about the health test company uBiome. Have you heard of this company? So uBiome was founded in 2012 with a Kickstarter campaign, and it was an at-home test. We should probably put a spoiler warning in this. We're going to talk about poop.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like bodily functions.
We're getting into the microbiome.
Yeah, microbiome
right?
stuff.
Okay.
So this uBiome would send, the way they worded an at-home test kit that would enable customers to get genetic sequence for the microbes found in their gut. What it means is they sent you a kit and you pooped in it and you sent it back to their lab, and then they basically like told you what kind of microorganisms were in your gut.
Okay. Yep.
And so just a little background, how much do you guys know about like gut biome or a healthy...
A little bit. I mean, I've been excited about the idea of blaming the fact that I'm fat on organisms in my gut. That sounds like
Okay.
That sounds like something I totally would love to do if we can get there.
Let me help you out.
Okay.
So actually, the first thing to know is like what goes in your mouth and goes through you is actually outside your body. Like it's not actually... Because there's literally, it's a hard concept to wrap your head around, but there's a hole at one end and a hole in the other. Everything that enters your body from the food and everything is broken down by these microorganisms in your body. And of course, like your stomach contents and all that.
Okay.
And so there's different types of these microorganisms in there. And recently there's been studies that link your, basically the cocktail of microorganisms in your gut to everything from like anxiety, depression, weight loss, weight gain, insomnia. It has a lot. This is like the cutting edge of medical science at this point in treatments. Irritable bowel syndrome or I forget the other one. There's a more severe
Crohn's.
thing of it. Yeah, something like that. The only available commercial treatment for it is what's known as an FTT, which is short for fecal transplant, whatever. Anyway, there's a company.
Okay.
The technical term.
They freeze dry poop, and then you take a pill, and it is supposed to, put good microbiomes in your system. And the technology and this health science has been merging for a while, and they're bioengineering these microorganisms for treatments. And there's something like 100 different startups in the last 10 years that have been around this probiotic kind of movement, and something like 51% of angel investors have some kind of investment in these microorganism tech companies. But this is uBiome. The reason why we're talking about it is because they filed for Chapter 11, and it's kind of the newest WeWork schedule. Or WeWork kind of situation where there was supposed to be this massive valuation around this company, and there's a lot of upside, and they're going to make money, but they're not profitable now, and in fact, they burn money. And it's kind of like nobody's hearing about this because I think WeWork overshadowed this story, but it's very similar where they got a bunch of investments, and the reason they were valued, they had a valuation estimate of about $600 million. But the reason being is because a bunch of rich people pumped in a bunch of money, and now they want it to be valued at that point.
Sure. It's
showing a valuation on the balance sheet, which is not probably accurate if you're forecasting cash flows and stuff because they haven't been profitable. And so my question to you guys is do you think is this a trend that we're going to continue to see at the end of this? Because this is supposed to be the hot new market. And this is where a lot of the investment's going. And I'm wondering if we're, this is like the third one in a row. Uber, of course, WeWork, and now this one. And we haven't heard there hasn't been like a Facebook or a Google IPO in a while.
Yeah.
And I'm just wondering if, this is kind of like the crest of the wave of large IPOs.
It seems like it has more staying power because its idea is so fundamental to everyone, and all of these other ones that you're mentioning aren't as much of a universal thing that we all share. I mean, WeWork and Uber are pretty universal, but gut biome is something that we all have. So if there's some real legitimacy to this technology, then it seems like it would have more staying power, at least from my perspective.
Yeah, it seems like if it works, it'll definitely have staying power, right? It either works or it doesn't. And unfortunately, it's not like that. It's not like it either works or it doesn't. Either works, or it doesn't always work, but there's a lot of people who think it does. And
Right.
so, but I don't think, I think if it actually works, then yeah, I think the industry and the technology would have the staying power. Any particular company though, that may be kind of getting into that industry may be pumped up too soon and may, suffer from this kind of syndrome of being overvalued too early in the process and having too high expectations put on it too early, and then suffering from that. And I think, we've seen that. We saw that. We've seen that across. I've seen that, I should say. Let me just back up and say I've seen that in my lifetime, in my career. If I go back to at the point that I was mature enough to even be paying attention to what's going on in the economy, it would have been the dot-com bubble, right? Mm-hmm. Today the internet does work. Internet commerce does work. All the things that we were trying to do in the 90s actually does work today. But there were a lot of companies saying that they were going to do it back then, and had what seemed like great ideas that really kind of pumped up and created that was the dot-com bubble, which a lot of people sometimes forget about, came before the mortgage crisis meltdown, right? And so yeah, I think definitely whether gut bacteria biome therapy or whatever you might call this is a thing, long-term works or not, even if it does work, even if it is a long-term sustainable industry, it could still have a bubble that that comes up and pops out. I had the opportunity to talk to a company in this space that is does this with pets, Animal Biome. Is doing this with pets, and yeah, it's. I actually haven't looked too hard into it, and so some of the things you were saying that the company does on the human side, I kind of acknowledge. Yeah, I was kind of like, oh, that kind of makes sense, because I'd heard about the fecal transplant idea with the pets, the idea that they're taking basically the poop from one cat or dog and then transplanting it through some mechanism into another cat or dog. But at least the company I was talking to was saying they actually got very good results, that they would have pets that had kind of gastrointestinal kind of issues and problems were resolving those completely with this treatment. And in fact, they felt like one of their problems as a business was that it was so effective that it didn't lend itself to like a long-term treatment plan necessarily. And so yeah, I think that it's definitely a space, right? It's a place where things are going. I just don't know, right? Obviously there's something about, as human beings, if the proposition is, oh, I've got to take a pill with somebody else's poop in it, is that how this works, right? So I've got to swallow somebody else's poop for this treatment. It better be pretty. I better have pretty good confidence in its effectiveness before I go there. And I think that's probably the company's probably dealing with some of that right now.
Well, it is funny to read the article. Sorry, Charlie.
That's okay.
It is funny to read the articles because at first I'm thinking like probiotics. And some of it is that, right? Like a probiotic kind of thing where it is just the microbes itself. But then they really start talking, because a lot of universities are into this. They're really talking about these fecal transplants, and they use every way under the sun not to talk about the fact that they're using poop swaps.
Right.
Yeah. Like FTT or any of these other acronyms. And then you got to Google that. And what is it? Oh, it is you're putting in somebody else's poop in your system so you can, and it seems to work, it is the only, for the really bad irritable bowel syndrome thing, it is the only cure or the only treatment.
Well, and on the human side, I guess, I don't know how this is working, but does that mean that there is a profession of being a fecal donor?
Yes. In fact, I did some research. There is somebody in Portland that's been doing this since 2013. Has been administering fecal transplants in Portland.
I know a couple of Portland fecal donors.
I went to her website And one of the things that she said was she was very picky about her donors, and they were all meticulously like diet, exercise, like family health screened before.
I thought you were pulling my leg. Like,
No, I swear to God.
Oh.
Yeah, no, this is for real.
So is this thing regulated right now, or is it like a health supplement type of thing?
That was the other part of the article that they said is this is not FDA regulated. FDA stands for Food and Drug Administration. It
Okay.
doesn't include poop. So, because poop isn't food or a drug,
Are
right?
you sure?
Shouldn't be.
Are you sure? 'Cause
I've been
what
told
you're
to
saying
eat shit a
sounds like it
bunch
is.
of times in my life,
By a
but at no
doctor?
point did I. But not by a doctor, right? Like,
I
So-
think I think the biology here and all this stuff is interesting, but I just want to talk about the sales and marketing team of whoever was able to convince us all to start eating other people's shit pills. I mean, that's the real
That is
miracle
amazing.
here.
Right? Yeah.
Like, I don't know how we're even not
need to-
talking about that.
we need to hire that guy. He could get our podcast
Exactly.
anywhere.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
People listen to this shit. No,
Well, no, I mean, it's, yeah. Wow. I mean, yeah, I mean, if that's going to be a thing, then surely we want it tested and
Sure.
and highly regulated. Yeah. I mean, I just think about that from the people that I talk to that are doing this with pets, right? They have a pretty meticulous process for looking at their donors. And one of the interesting facts that came out of that was that cats are like the dirtiest things ever. Like they can, yeah. So dogs, they can find good dog donors that don't necessarily have problems, but they basically what I was told is that there's not a cat out there that doesn't have some kind of intestinal worm or some kind of something in there that would corrupt it. And so they basically have to have special cats to create the donors. And so, I mean, yeah, so this is being thought about and dealt with at a very detailed and professional level with pets. I sure hope it's being dealt with at least at the same level for human beings.
Well, it is. There's large investments and this isn't just an entrepreneurial space. Like large universities, and I think I read Harvard and one of the other big like medical schools is investing quite a bit and have done research on the effectiveness of these, from anywhere from depression to weight loss to anxiety treatments. That the results are promising and repeatable, and so I think that you probably are going to look. And let's be clear, this isn't all going to be poop eating treatment. That it is going to be packaged like your set of probiotics that you buy at the store now.
Yeah,
Like a
you would
multivitamin.
think
I
they
would
might come
hope.
up a synthetic version at some point. That's
Yeah.
but it's I think about there's a lot of young people that are donating blood and plasma and things like that that's how they decide, that's how they get by to kind of live the lives they want to live, is they get some money from doing things of that nature. And it's like, okay, so now fecal transplants are the next thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sell your shit, people.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's all I had.
All right. Well, very good. Well, thank you guys. Yeah, that's another good discussion. And yeah, we will get back to it next week. And for our audience at home, thank you for watching. And please hit that subscribe button and the notifications so that you see us when we come up. If you're watching on YouTube and podcast, please subscribe and tell your friends and family and neighbors, tell everyone you can about us, your colleagues, so we can build that audience and keep doing this with you as long as possible. Okay, we'll see everyone next time. Thank you.
Thank you.